Erica. Today we are going to do a lesson about things you should never say at the first meeting. What you say at a first meeting is so very important because those opening words cast a first and last impression. Words which are loosely used or unconsciously chosen can hamper not only your first impressions but also your credibility, your relationships, and moving up the corporate ladder. Today, I am here to share a few tips about proper social and business etiquette. So let's begin. The first one, avoid negative comments. Sure, we all have problems. Probably we are having work-related issues. But when you meet someone for the first time, you definitely do not want to come across as a whiner or a complainer. Sometimes most people would use statements like, I hate working over here. Or my job stinks. Another could be, my boss is a jerk. Those statements could be true. However, you definitely do not want to share that with somebody who you're meeting for the first time. These statements are better left unsaid in a business or social setting. If you have a genuine problem with someone or something, you rather address it to the right channel. Maybe you could approach a person in the human resource department in case you're really having a problem over there. Okay? Moving on to the next topic, which is money related topics. Sometimes you may come across a person asking you a question about your salary. I'm sure at that moment you would have been uncomfortable. Similarly, we need to understand that when we are uncomfortable, probably the other person could be uncomfortable as well. So we definitely want to avoid money related questions. For example, what is your salary? Or how much do you get paid? What a person earns is a very personal matter. If you are going to ask questions with regard to money or salary, it could come across very rude and it could hamper that relationship even before it's starting off. So the good thing would be to avoid money related topics. If you happen to be very curious to know what he or she is earning, or generally if that's important information for you, you could research that on the internet. There are many websites. For example, you have payscale.com or you have glassdoor.com. So you could always do that research online, but definitely avoid asking questions to somebody who you're meeting. Okay? Moving on to the next topic, which is religious sentiments. Questions like, are you religious? Another example could be, do you believe in God? A person's faith or what a person practices is very personal to them. As much as we are aware, we would have been taught to avoid such questions, sometimes it probably could come up. But it's always important to avoid such questions because it could make somebody uncomfortable. When we meet someone, we are looking to foster or to build a relationship. So we should avoid using statements or asking questions which would make someone uncomfortable. So questions about religion are best avoided. Okay. Now we move to the next thing to avoid, which would be sexual orientation questions. For example, an example over here would be, are you interested in men or women? Questions related to sexual orientation are a big no-no. That's a very personal matter. It is really no one's business, and it's something which is really inappropriate to ask in a social or business setting. This is a relationship based question, so it's definitely between that person and his or her partner. So you definitely want to stay clear from asking questions with regard to sexual orientation. This could come across as something with regard to invading someone's privacy, or it could even border on sexual harassment. So you definitely want to avoid this question altogether. Now let's look at another 3 things to avoid saying when we meet someone for the first time. Health and hardships information. Sometimes we could probably discuss health related issues. So an example could be, I have serious health problems. Or another example could be, I am filing for bankruptcy. When you are going through a hard time in your life, it would be tempting to share that with your colleagues or your clients. But this is definitely inappropriate to discuss in a business or social setting. If you have genuine health problems, you probably could discuss this with your employer so that he or she is aware of the hardships that you're going through. But to discuss specific details with regard to your health or specific details with regard to any financial concerns or problems, those are best avoided. Okay, so now we move on to the next thing to avoid, which would be physical appearances. Any comments related to physical appearances, for example, I really like your outfit, or you have a lovely handbag. Comments with regard to physical appearances again are best avoided, even if it's a positive compliment. Say for example, you have got to know that person better over a period of time. You still want to be a little careful of what you say and why you say. So it's best to avoid comments with regard to physical appearances in a business or social setting. If you feel the need or you feel that you want to genuinely compliment somebody, you could give sincere praise, sincere work related praise, like for example, I loved your presentation, or congratulations on achieving your sales targets. So these are some things which you could say. Moving on to the last thing which you should avoid saying would be self-centered conversations. For example, conversations which have I written all over, or me. Self-centered conversations are definitely not appreciated. As someone rightly said, I is the smallest letter in the alphabet, so don't make it the biggest word in your vocabulary. what you could do is, if you want to build more confident and more friendly relationships, you could engage in asking questions with regard to them. You could ask sincere questions to get to know them better. Or you could also be an active listener to see what he or she has to share with you. Some of the examples which probably you could ask would be, what has brought you to Mumbai, or what has brought you to America? Or another example could be, why have you chosen accounting, or does your interest lie in accounting? That way you're engaging with someone in a friendly manner. At the same time, you're asking appropriate questions. So you want to be a little careful that as you're building relationships, you definitely want to avoid asking inappropriate questions. We have now come to the end of this lesson. I hope you found these things helpful, and these are some things which you would keep in mind the next time you meet someone in a social or business setting. Thank you very much.